Quality is important in early childhood development programs and policies, which show great promise in improving early learning, growth, and development, but only when they are high quality. So if early childhood education, for example, has insufficient quality, you may find either no effects on children's development or even negative effects. And this may be for a variety of reasons, because quality is something that is an aspect of the workforce. How well trained is the workforce? Are teachers, for example, engaging in stimulating interactions? Are they able to engage children in learning? And are the programs of sufficient intensity, for example, to make a difference? Do they last long enough? Are children attending long enough? So we really need to consider the implementation of early childhood education programs and their quality before we can jump to the conclusion that they are actually benefiting children's development. So aspects of quality in early childhood education are quite similar in some respects to the kinds of quality that we think of in primary or secondary education. But we think perhaps even more intensively about some basic aspects, such as hygiene, sanitation, and safety. And this is, of course, because children need much more care and attention when in the early years of their development. We also need to think about inclusion and engagement in early childhood education. That is, are the children in the program reflective of the communities surrounding the program in terms of the language background, the backgrounds of the children as far as their disability status or their abilities, their gender, and then in terms of engagement, whether a program is actually reaching out effectively to parents and to communities. For example, are parents and community members involved in the governance of early childhood education? Do they have some say in what is being taught and how the programs are working with children? Another important dimension is the quality of interactions that teachers have with children. When teachers are warm and responsive and engaging in back and forth conversations with children, when they're attentive to children's skills and needs, that makes for a higher quality program. And then finally, teachers really do need to think about the approaches to instruction. Are they supporting language through elaborated conversations? Are they providing support for very early skills around numeracy, understanding numbers, understanding magnitude, understanding different shapes and how spatial relations work? Are they providing support for rich environments in the preschool for print, exposure to books, exposure to letters and words, and connecting them to the everyday lives? And then finally, but perhaps most important, are teachers able to provide opportunities to guide children's play? Do they provide children autonomy in what they play with in the classroom? Is there a variety of materials? And are the teachers able to not just let children play in a completely unstructured way, but in a way that will advance their actual learning? There are a variety of ways to actually improve quality in early childhood education. They all build on the fact that teachers and caregivers are adults who need to learn and build their skills. A key way to do this is by observing teachers in the classroom and providing supportive feedback. So there are efforts in Latin America to provide mentoring, for example, and coaching, so that a director of a preschool or a peer, another teacher, comes into your classroom, sees how you're teaching, and gives you supportive feedback. Unlike many other jobs, education is one in which It may be that the door closes and people don't observe you working, except for the students. So, but adults learn from getting feedback from supportive peers. So that kind of observation in the classroom can really improve children's development. And in order to do this, we really need strong measures of quality. So we need measures that include observations in the classroom, that include surveys of teachers and directors for aspects of quality that you can't actually see in the classroom. So for example, whether a program reaches out effectively to parents and communities. So these quality measures can shape teacher discussions. They can actually link national level standards to actual community and teacher practices to ensure that classrooms, programs all over a country covering the entire population reach a high level of